everyone, welcome to So Says Shernoff on Fight TV. I'm Josh Shernoff, and yes, you heard that right, we are now on Fight TV. Now, you, the viewer, might be saying, yeah, I know, I literally opened the Fight TV app to watch this. There's no way I couldn't know you were on Fight TV. To which I say, I'm on Fight TV. Either way, I am super excited to be a part of the Fight family and look forward to kissing up to them as much as I possibly can throughout the remainder of this episode. But first, let's take a look at some headlines. We're not even finished the first month of 2019, and already the wrestling world has been turned upside down. And no, I'm not talking about the new era of the WWE, even though I think we can all agree that the changes they've made thus far are pretty incredible. I mean, Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin is way better than Baron Corbin versus Finn Balor. No, I'm talking about AEW, All Elite Wrestling. They held a pep rally, the likes of which would make most medium-sized tailgate parties feel like a slightly smaller medium-sized tailgate party. While the overhead shot making its rounds around the internet may not have been a great visual example of the excitement for this event, for those of us watching at home, the sound of the crowd was deafening, in that you could not hear them at all. All right, look, I'm just having some fun with an otherwise monumental event. There was pyro and cheerleaders and huge surprises. What a way to kick off this promotion. What a way to kick off the new year. And what a way to get Chris Jericho kicked off the opening signature of the WWE. Chris Jericho put the rumors to rest and fired the first shot in perhaps the biggest threat to the WWE's complacency since Nitro and the NWO. When he said they weren't changing the world, they were changing the whole universe, I almost fell out of my seat, if not for the fact that I was standing. The only thing more epic than that shot across the bow was Shahid Khan's mustache. Magnificent. Rumors are running wild about who might join AEW next. There is a plethora of talent that has not been given the opportunity to shine, and people believe that this could be a great opportunity for said talent. But who's it going to be? Will it be Mike and Maria Kanellis? Will it be Dolph Ziggler? Or will it be that old WCW mascot? That guy was a talent. He was tough but lovable, cool but cuddly, yet barely made it onto TV. Meanwhile, this son of a bitch debuts at Survivor Series, has a match at WrestleMania, and gets to hang out with all the top stars in our business. Whether or not we're on the cusp of an all-out war between the WWE and AEW remains to be seen. But one thing is for certain, AEW is real, and that's huge for the wrestling business. It's huge for the fans, and it's huge for the talent. And depending on which rumor is true and who signs with AEW, just think of the dream matches we might one day see. Moving on. Our main story tonight is the Royal Rumble, but before we talk about this year's show, let's take a look back at some of the Royal Rumble moments we will never forget and some we wish we could. The Royal Rumble began in 1988 and saw Hacksaw Jim Duggan become its first winner. Just think about how different those times were. Hacksaw was at best an upper middle card player. There is no way the crowd in that arena on that night could have picked Hacksaw to win. Nowadays, it's like 3 guys who could potentially win and 27 people who you absolutely know have zero chance. Wrestling was so much fun back in the 80s. Could you imagine if there's someone out there who hears Zack Ryder's music and thinks, oh boy, now we've got a contender in the match? So that was 1988. But in 1993, something huge happened, both literally and figuratively, as Yokozuna won the Rumble and officially became the first man to earn a shot at the world title at WrestleMania. Yoko would go on to WrestleMania where Mr. Fuji would throw salt in Bret Hart's eyes, allowing Yoko to pick up the win and the title. Then Hulk Hogan would come out and throw salt in Bret Hart's wounds by beating Yokozuna for his 5th WWF title reign. Remember when winning it 5 times was a crazy accomplishment? I mean, Booker T made a career out of it. Today, everyone has at least 10, 13 title reigns. Everyone's a Grand Slam champion. Everyone's a winner. I feel like the world title has become that slightly smaller soccer trophy that everyone gets for participating. But back in 1994, or as we referred to it before 2018, the WWE's worst year ever, the title still meant something, and that's why in the 1994 Royal Rumble, 30 men were at it again to try and earn the right to challenge for the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 10. The winners? Bret Hart and Lex Luger. The guy that Hulk Hogan wouldn't put over, and the guy that was given Hogan's spot and couldn't get over. Oh, that hit a nerve. This match was the first and only time two people won the Rumble, but it almost happened again in 2005 when John Cena and Batista legitimately eliminated each other at the same time. However, Vince McMahon would have none of that and hit the ring in a fit of anger. He was so angry that instead of walking up the stairs, he slid into the ring. When he tried to get up, he tore his quad and fell down in what would normally be considered an incredibly awkward fall, but for Vince was pretty much on par with any bump he's ever taken. Guess I know where I'm not going to be working. Vince spent the remainder of his time in the ring, sitting on the mat, barking orders at the referees. You know, when you step back and look at the whole segment, it was very similar to a toddler throwing a temper tantrum. From the weird wobbly walk, to the choice to slide on his belly rather than use the stairs, to sitting with his hands on his hips, nearly in tears while yelling at everyone around him. Anyway, between Vince's torn quads, HBK's broken back, and Taka Michinoku's broken face, do you remember that? If you don't, go watch that video. It's rough. The Royal Rumble is possibly one of the most dangerous events in WWE history, but hopefully this year we'll see less in the way of career-altering injuries and more in the way of big surprise returns or debuts, because at the end of the day, that's what we're there for moments like the return of Mr. Perfect or Diesel's surprise return. Although the Rumble does have a history of being hit or miss, some years you get AJ Styles, some years you get Drew Carey. Either way, I know who I'm hoping for this year. We'll be right back. Need a little extra boost in the bedroom? Go to BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is made with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. Blue Chew is chewable, which makes it the better, cheaper, and faster alternative. No in-person doctor's visits, no waiting in line, and best of all, no more awkwardness. Use the promo code JOSH when you order online to get your first month free. Just pay $5 shipping. Go to BlueChew.com and use the promo code JOSH. Welcome back. Right now, I'd like to introduce you to a new segment on the show. It's a segment where I get a chance to tell you how I really feel about a specific topic. It's a little less comedy and a little more me getting some stuff off my chest, but I promise by the time the segment is over, it will be finished. This is Shernoff's Soapbox. Earlier in the episode, we touched base on the WWE's new era, and I really wanted to dive a little bit deeper into that because, to me, to say the new era has been a disappointment would be like saying the Philly crowd was indifferent with Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. This new era is like new Coke. It's awful, and hopefully will not be around very long. The WWE has not changed anything since the new era started, and I know some people are going to go, but what about the new talent? Yeah, what about them? They've either been misused or not used at all. Yes, there have been some decent in-ring showings, but the WWE can't even decide which brand they should be on. If that doesn't scream to you how little thought went into these call-ups, I don't know what does. Also, there's nothing new about calling up NXT talent. They were probably slated to come up after the Royal Rumble anyway. At most, they were going to come up after WrestleMania. So all they did was just bump the regular stuff up a couple of weeks or a couple of months. The whole thing's insulting. The WWE believes they can throw a bunch of new faces at its audience and then run the same matches and same uninspired storylines, and everyone is going to see it as something new. You know what I see it as? A threat that they're going to do the same thing to EC3 that they did to Bobby Roode. And don't even get me started on the desperation that was the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn promos, claiming they're returning soon when they don't even know when they'll be back. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about how the WWE can never go out of business. The WWE is this gigantic conglomerate, this powerhouse nobody can compete with. But now, with a company like AEW starting up, and with the money they have behind them, AEW could be a real threat to the WWE. Now, there's always going to be diehard WWE fans. There are always going to be those people who choose that company as their wrestling promotion. But unless they're going to start running all of their shows overseas, they really need to change something, because competition is not just about ratings. In a lot of ways, to take a word from Vince McMahon, the ratings war is passé. Let's talk about the live TV events for a second. All you need is for AEW to be running a show within a couple of weeks around the same area that Raw or SmackDown are running. There's a real chance that any fan who watches both products might choose to spend their money on AEW as opposed to the WWE. AEW is new and fresh, and the WWE is nearing the complete opposite of must-see. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to trash the WWE. I love the WWE. I love the history of that company. I am a WWE guy through and through, but I can only watch the same recycled garbage for so many weeks and months and years. The talent is there. The money for the proper presentation is there. The know-how is there. So what's missing? Why can't the WWE figure out how to do something new? And forget even for a second the idea of doing something better. Just do something new. You call it the new era, but what makes it a new era? Because you've gone back to pushing people that you were pushing 2 years ago? All that means is you stop making your most recent mistakes. You're not doing anything new. Look, I want the WWE to succeed, just as I want All Elite Wrestling to succeed, just as I want Ring of Honor and Impact to succeed. The more options, the more alternatives for fans and for talent, the healthier and stronger this business that we love so much will be. WWE, I'm asking you this. Don't just slap a label on it. Don't just call it a new era. Do something different. Make a real change. Remind the wrestling world why for almost 70 years you've been the revolutionary force in sports entertainment. Otherwise, instead of then, now, forever, the WWE's lasting slogan might just be then. We'll be right back. Need a little extra boost in the bedroom? Go to BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is made with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. Blue Chew is chewable, which makes it the better, cheaper, and faster alternative. No in-person doctor's visits, no waiting in line, and best of all, no more awkwardness. Use the promo code JOSH when you order online to get your first month free. Just pay $5 shipping. Go to BlueChew.com and use the promo code JOSH. Welcome back. It's now time to take a look at this year's Royal Rumble event. Now, this show is not nearly long enough to cover the entire card, as the event itself is scheduled to go something like 30 hours. But we are going to touch base on some of the more important matches. Sorry, Cruiserweight and US titles. Looks like you can't even get on this show. The Royal Rumble comes to us from Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona, and is the 32nd Royal Rumble event. Not to be confused with a 32nd Royal Rumble event, as that would be way too short. And with a stacked card, it actually looks like this could be a pretty great show. Not the greatest, but great. First up, let's talk about the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, The Bar, versus the future SmackDown Tag Team Champions, The Miz and Shane McMahon. Why do I say future champions? Well, it's threefold. First, ratings are down, insert a McMahon. It's a tried and true formula that hasn't worked in 20 years. Second, it fits the predictability of this storyline. Miz and Shayna win the titles and then break up and have a match at Mania. I guess spoiler alert. And the final fold, the WWE has absolutely no respect for tag team wrestling. Seriously, Bobby Roode and his little cosplay sidekick aren't even on the show. Unless you count wasting 2 potential mystery entrants into the Rumble. And I swear, if I draw Chad Gable in my Rumble pool. Up next, we have Ronda Rousey defending the Raw Women's title against Sasha Banks. So I have 2 gripes about this match. You ever feel like this whole show should just be called Shernoff Soapbox? So I have 2 gripes about this match. Number 1, why has Ronda been so apologetic for thinking she can beat Sasha Banks? This is a woman who revolutionized MMA 50% because she was a badass in the cage and 50% because she was a badass on the mic. She trash-talked her way through the UFC and then showed up last year with this weird thing on her face, this smile thing. It does not suit her. And my second issue, she would kill Sasha Banks in a fight. Sasha is a great character and a great performer, but she is not a realistic threat to Ronda Rousey. I predict Rousey walking away champion and heading to WrestleMania to main event against Becky Lynch, or maybe Becky and Charlotte. Either way, that brings us to our next match. Asuka defends the SmackDown Women's Championship against the man herself, Becky Lynch. As huge a fan of Becky's as I am, I don't see her picking up the win in this match. I see bigger things for her this Sunday, and that brings us to the Women's Royal Rumble match. Now, while Becky might not be on the WWE.com's image promoting the match, I predict that she will win the match and go on to face a champion of her choosing in Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. Unless Becky and Charlotte both win a la Brett and Luger. The new Daniel Bryan defends his WWE title against the real AJ Styles. Seems like only yesterday AJ was debuting in the WWE, and now he's going to AEW. I read that on the internet, so it's true. AJ and Bryan have as good a chance as any to tear the house down in this match. Bryan is at the top of his game, and AJ's in-ring ability seems to be aging like Sean Mooney's physical appearance. I mean, I have aged more since the show started than that man has in the last 30 years. Anywho, I feel like Daniel Bryan is going to pull out a victory at the Rumble. The same, however, cannot be said for poor lamb to slaughter, Finn Balor. Finn Balor will challenge Brock Lesnar for the stupid Universal title. I'm sorry, did I say stupid? Okay, good. So remember what I said about Sasha and Rousey? That times 10. There is one way this match is acceptable. If Brock Lesnar eats Finn Balor, anything less is unrealistic. I mean, absolutely no disrespect to Finn or his in-ring ability, but dude, it's Brock Lesnar. Literally the only thing Brock and Finn have in common is that Brock's forearm and Finn's waist are the same size. Brock needs to hold on to the title heading into WrestleMania. But will his challenger be the winner of the Men's Royal Rumble match? Well, that depends. Can we just take a minute to look at the picture WWE put up to promote this match? Forget for a second that Cena hurt his ankle doing legs or whatever they're saying. Cena will be in the match. Elias isn't winning. Jinder had his 15 minutes, which is still insane to me. And Baron Corbin, if Baron Corbin wins the Royal Rumble, next month's show will be a lead-in to an Impact pay-per-view because I'm going to stop watching the WWE. Look, I'm not sure who's going to win this match, which I consider a good thing. I like to be surprised. Pleasantly surprised, not Baron Corbin pointing at a WrestleMania sign surprised. I will smash the TV. My pick would be Drew McIntyre. He's the best thing going in the WWE and has star written all over him. Drew versus Lesnar at Mania would be awesome. Drew is the guy to believably take the title off of Lesnar. Now, unfortunately, that title is the red-strapped stepchild of the WWE title, but it would still be huge for Drew. Drew McIntyre winning the Royal Rumble would make this a great Royal Rumble. Not the greatest, but pretty great. Well, that's our show. Thank you, Fight TV. I promise to kiss up to you more next month. Thank you to all of you who came out this winter night. Keep in touch on Twitter at Shernoff Show, on Facebook.com/Shernoff Show. You can keep in touch with me on Twitter at So Says Shernoff. Go to SoSaysShernoff.com for this awesome mug or any of my super cool shirts. And please join us again on February 14th as we take a look at headlines and Elimination Chamber. Oh, and it will be Valentine's Day, so, you know, go to BlueChew.com and use the promo code JOSH. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been So Says Shernoff, because that is what Shernoff had to say. Good night.